Hello guys, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. In this episode, I want to talk about making big money. All right, I'm coming at you straight from Puerto Rico, where I moved about 3 months ago to enjoy 0% on my capital gains on all crypto-related trades. As you can see, it's beautiful here. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I want to talk to you guys today about making big money. And this is my opinion. And I want to be very, very clear in this video and at the onset of this video that everything in this video is just my opinion. It is just for educational purposes only. This is how I look at things. This is what I'm doing. This is not a recommendation to you. Consult your own legal experts. Do not take anything I say to be professional advice or financial advice. Because in this video, I am going to talk extensively about the subject of money and how I think one can make large amounts of it. And I'm going to incorporate a story into this as well. Because I was talking with a friend recently, in fact in the past 24 hours, about where to put $60,000. This person has an IRA account and it came to their awareness that they could actually sell it and then buy crypto. And they wanted to know my opinion on the subject. This person is very close to me and I value their well-being greatly. And so I give them my best advice of what I would do for myself in their situation if I had come across a $60,000 windfall, for example. I recommended, of course, that they put it into crypto. My viewpoint of the stock market is not very good. You know, we've enjoyed year after year, decade after decade of uptrending on the stock market. I think largely in part to quantitative easing and just endless printing of money, so everything looks like it's doing better and better, as well as just manipulation. And I think that we are in the dying throes of the legacy financial system. Whether that's in the next 1, 2, 3 years or the next 10 years, I do think that that's coming. I think that that's the direction we're heading, is legacy dies out, legacy banking dies out, governmental control of money dies out, and we encounter a new era, a new age in which we have a separation of money from state, similar to how we had a separation of religion from state. And I think that that is very much the correct direction to go. And I really feel like in 50 years, 100 years from now, looking back, people are going to go, wow, that was crazy, huh? Those times when we had slaves, and those times when we had religion under the control of the government, and those times when we had money under the control of the government. I think that they're all going to be viewed very similarly in that there were horrible ideas. So that's the basis that I take when I'm looking at this. To me, that's where we're headed. And so of course, I think that cryptocurrency is the better place to put one's money, especially in light of where we're at in the crypto bull market. And I had kind of a revelation today when I was talking with this person about where to put their $60,000. And so I recommended 50 to 70% Bitcoin, you know, 20 to 30% EOS, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, something of that nature, that kind of a portfolio. As you can see, I've gravitated a little more heavily toward Bitcoin, especially at this part of the bull run. And so I recommended accordingly to them. Putting your money where your mouth is the ultimate statement. I could say anything I want. I could say, buy 1,000,000 Tezos, buy 1,000,000 Ripple. But if I'm not doing it, then maybe you should think twice, because I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So that's kind of the general breakdown of what I recommended to this person. But the interesting thing that I saw was the time frame of things. So in selling $60,000 from an IRA, this person does incur a capital gains tax, a long-term capital gains tax, which is about, I think $11,000 is what they told me. I haven't actually done the math. So let's say it's $11,000 of tax on their $60,000 IRA. And they have to pay this tax to the government, of course, at the end of the year, right after the 2019 tax season is over. So in April of 2020 is when these taxes will be due on the sale of this IRA conversion to crypto. And we were talking about what to do with the taxes. And at first I was advising kind of a conservative approach of taking that $11,000 and just set it aside. And set it aside to pay for the taxes when they are due, because we don't know which way the crypto market's going to go for sure, right? And this is what I was thinking at the time. And it's more safe because we don't want to get ourselves stuck in a position where if crypto went to zero, then we wouldn't even be able to pay the taxes. And so we would actually be at a net negative minus $11,000. We'd have to come up with $11,000 to pay off the taxes to make up for the sale. But I thought about it some more, and you know what? And again, not financial advice, but with this friend of mine, I'm recommending they go all in. They take all 60,000 of that and they put it all into crypto in the proportions I mentioned. And the logic was this, and this was kind of the revelation that I had. These bull runs happen about every 3 or 4 years, you know, from start to finish. If we look back at the 2013, 2014, the very end of 2013, the beginning of 2014, we peaked at around $1,150. That was one bull market peak, right? And then it took 4 years, almost exactly, to peak out again at the December 2017 $20,000 high. And so we've been following a similar pattern. Right now we have bottomed out. I think it's fair to say that the consensus is that we've reached the bottom of the market around 3,300 for Bitcoin, maybe 6 months ago. And we have been moving upwards from there. And we're at the beginning of what is to become the next bull run. I think that's all relatively agreed upon in the crypto space. And it looks like we're following a somewhat similar timeline. It looks like about 3-4 years, something like that. And the next peak will be in 2021. I still believe the next peak will be in 2021. Whether it's at the beginning or the middle, I'm not exactly sure, but 2021 is what I think we're going to see for the next bull run all-time high. Now, every bull run has substantially surpassed the previous bull run all-time high. So I don't think we're just going to see $40,000 Bitcoins or $60,000 Bitcoins. While that will be incredibly inspiring, exciting, that's not going to be where it ends up, guys. I really don't think so. I think that we're going to surpass easily $100,000, and maybe we'll see $200,000 like I predicted, assuming fees don't inhibit Bitcoin. But we don't know exactly because this is uncharted territory. We've never had this happen before where we've had $200,000 Bitcoin. Fees may hit $200, and we have an unfinished Lightning network, so that's not going to really alleviate pressure. So what's going to happen? Well, that's why I recommend a diversity of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash as a scaling option, EOS as a scaling option, Ethereum as a future, Ethereum 2.0 scaling option, and I do recommend staying in the top 10, just reliability-wise. So back to the time frame of things. I get a little sidetracked on topics sometimes. So if it's going to take about 3-4 years, and 2021 is when we're going to see the next bull run peak, why then are we worrying about where this person puts $11,000 of tax money that they have to pay next year? Now, this is keeping in mind their ability to generate that kind of income. That's very important. If they didn't have another income source, a job that could create income for them where they could pay that off, then I would probably recommend against putting all 60,000 into crypto. And I probably would recommend them holding 11,000 aside for the taxes that they're going to have to pay in 2020 for their 2019 year taxes. But they do have a good job. They do make income. They do have the ability to pay off $11,000, especially over a 4-year time period. And here's the thing, and this is the clincher. We only get this opportunity every 4 years, roughly speaking, right? If these bull runs are 3 and 4 years apart, this opportunity doesn't present itself all the time. We have an opportunity every 3 or 4 years to buy in at the relative low, in the accumulation zone of every bull run. So why then would I be fearful and recommend this person put money aside in a savings for the taxes when they have the ability to pay it off anyways, should worst come to worst, which I really doubt is going to happen. I can't actually imagine a scenario. I don't think it's actually possible for cryptocurrency to reach zero. I just don't think it's possible. I think anyone who tells you that just doesn't understand technology, doesn't understand what crypto and Bitcoin and the ledger and the blockchain, proof of work, proof of stake, consensus, they don't understand these things. And so if you don't understand these things, then yeah, you could shoot off a random comment that has no substantiation to it whatsoever and say that crypto could go to zero. But those are those people. They don't know what they're talking about. It's not a fault on them per se. Everyone starts this way. We started this way. I started this way. I didn't get Bitcoin when I started. But that's where education comes in, and that's why education is so utterly paramount in the crypto space. Because if you don't understand the technology as a whole, if you don't understand specific technologies of individual crypto coins, you will make bad decisions, such as saying that crypto is going to zero. That's not to say that some black swan event can't come around and the United States could ban crypto. I think that could be, on the short term, one of the worst black swan events we could have. Do I think they're going to do that? No. Is it possible? Yes. But that would be an example of a black swan event that on a short term would probably devastate the price. If we look back in 2017, there were a couple times where China threatened to ban cryptocurrency, and it did have a negative impact on the price of things. And it quickly recovered. That's the thing. You know, we had this entire country saying we're going to ban cryptocurrency. In fact, one of the largest cryptocurrency volume-wise countries. And it did have a negative impact on the price, but that was short term, and it rebounded. And that's because we have a decentralization among nations on planet Earth. We have hundreds of nations, and maybe they don't all have the same trading volumes, but they also don't have the same jurisdictional governance. And so if you ban cryptocurrency in one country, such as China or US, yeah, it looks pretty bad on the short term for the market, and the market will react accordingly. But on the long term, you have 199 other countries that are still supporting cryptocurrency, and so it really just makes that country look bad. It makes innovation happen outside of that country where the banning occurred, and really it just leaves that country in last place. So it's kind of a stupid decision to ban crypto for that country. So it's interesting in that cryptocurrency has this built-in self-defense mechanism where if you ban it, it just grows stronger around you. And that is another example of why I feel that crypto, it just can't go to zero. There will always be a market, there will always be an exchange in a country that has not been banned. In fact, there will be probably 99% of the exchanges in countries that have not been banned. So if you want to be one of the stupid countries and go banning crypto and be one of those 1%, well, you just shot yourself in the foot. That's how I look at it. So that's why I feel that crypto is definitely not going to zero. So if we have these market cycles that happen every 3 to 4 years, and we're at basically the bottom right now, we're a little up, right? It's still a decent time to get in, all things considered. Why the heck would I tell this person to put their money aside to pay the taxes? They're going to be able to pay 20x the $11,000 that they saved in taxes next year if they save it. So instead of $11,000, they'll probably have $200,000 or $300,000 from just that tax money that they set aside, assuming that the crypto market goes up another 20 or 30x, which I entirely anticipate. Like we said, crypto markets go dramatically above their previous all-time highs. They don't just match their all-time high and dip down and kind of futz around like traditional markets. We are in the growth stages of cryptocurrency. I feel like I'm really inspired today, so I'm just going to roll with this. You know, I've made videos on the S-curve of adoption, and you see that technologies, especially disruptive technologies, have a pattern to them where they get adopted on a gradual basis, and then the curve steepens, and then it levels off at the top. And that's what crypto is doing, and that is what Bitcoin's doing. And I'll put a picture right here so you can see what I'm talking about. These are things like the microwave, the telephone, the internet, the refrigerator, the cell phone, and Bitcoin, right? And crypto is no different. It's a disruptive technology. And so it's not going away, as I just discussed, so it's only going to get bigger. Therefore, we are riding this curve up. I think it's such a huge magnitude of what we're doing here that we have probably decades to go before it revolutionizes the entire landscape of planet Earth in terms of money. Every country has money, so it's not some small undertaking. So you could say, well, how come it's not happening faster, this transformation? Well, we're talking about the entire population of Earth. What is it, like 7, 8 billion people? That's a lot of people to get on board, and that will take time. And of course, there will be some countries that are the laggards in the S-curve. They'll be the guys who, at the top of the curve, are just getting in when everyone else has already got in. They'll be the FOMO countries who are getting in late. And so let's hope those FOMO countries aren't the United States and they aren't China, because by banning cryptocurrency, that's what they'll be. They'll be the FOMO countries getting in late. And we will basically be seeing a flippening of, potentially, a flippening of power on the planet, where you have, you know, instead of China and USA being the dominant global factors, if they were to ban these things, you might have something like Kenya or a third world country become superior because they were crypto savvy and allowed innovation, and they leaped the technology all the way up to the point where they're ahead of the United States on the subject of cryptocurrency and money. And of course, money is the thing that greases the wheel of every transaction. It's half, at least, the part of every transaction that takes place. Whether you're buying a cup of coffee, you're buying a car, or you're buying a stock, money is part of that transaction. So it is integral to life. Anyways, guys, that's how I look at the subject of money. I think that cryptocurrency is obviously a disruptive technology that's not going away, and that is why it is imperative in my opinion, to be involved in this space. If I want to not miss the boat, I'm getting in now. And that's why I wouldn't even put aside the tax money, because they have the ability to make that money and pay for those taxes next year. And they're going to get 20 to 30x on this return anyways, most likely, right? This is a best case scenario. I am obviously extremely bullish about the crypto markets, and I think with good reason. So the last topic I want to talk about is the subject of going big or going home. In traditional markets, it's very common to see people accept a 5% return, a 10%, 20% return on their investments. And I want to give a shout out to Tai Zen. I recently subscribed to his channel. He's a good level-headed guy. And he talked about this in one of his recent videos about how in a traditional market, especially with short-term trading, something like 10% returns is sought after as a good thing. That looks like a good return, right? Well, in the crypto space, we don't deal with that. If you're looking at 20% returns, 10% returns on your crypto portfolio, you're either extremely short-term in your trading or you're just not getting the bigger picture. And that's not something I recommend at all. I'm all about the X multiplier. 2x, 5x, 10x, 20x, 40x. I have seen 100+ X returns. I've seen 300x returns on some of my crypto investments. Now, I wish I had sold at the top to capitalize on those, and that's the next skill I'm learning, is to sell when they're irrationally high. But I have seen those in my portfolio, and they are exhilarating, to say the least. But of course, you have to separate your emotions out and act rationally. So probably I was so exhilarated that I didn't sell, because I had that starry-eyed vision, like, oh, this is going up forever, and I can't sell. It's 300x. Well, fucking sell. Sorry for the swearing, but I get it. I'm talking to myself. If it goes up 300x, next time I'm going to sell. If it goes up 50 to 100x, I'm going to be selling, because the chances of it correcting are so great after that time that it's really foolish not to capitalize on that profit, and at least to safeguard it, put it into some other asset where it can hold its value, like gold or a stable coin. And those are the two I'm really looking at. Dollars as a weak third, because I don't really put a lot of value into dollars or the control that banks have over my dollars potentially. I want ultimate control. So gold and stable coins is where I would capture that value. But my point is go big, think big. You can't make big money without going big. If you see an opportunity of a lifetime, if you see an opportunity of a 4-year period, like we're talking about here, these crypto swings, every 4 years we have another bull shape, another curve that goes to its next peak every 3-4 years. If you see that you're in the opportunity buying zone of one of these cycles, go big or go home. Risk reward, right? Like if I see the reward potentiality is really, really high, and I think the risk is only slight, why am I not going all in? I'm not going to put $500 in. I'm going to put $50,000 in. I think big, right? And that might turn in, if you 20x that, 30x that, then you're talking at $1 million. That's how you become a millionaire. You do not become a millionaire by putting in 5,000 or 500. You might get lucky if you put in 5,000 on a really solid coin when it's at its bottom, when it's new, and then it skyrockets. That has definitely happened. But at the maturity of the crypto markets that we're seeing right now, it's not as likely to see 1,000x returns on your holdings as it was 5 years ago. So you might have to put in $50,000 to $100,000 to see a return that gets you in the millionaire category. That's how I look at things. Big, think big. I don't think small, I don't think puny, and that's how you get places, guys. Think big. It takes big cojones, it takes big balls to make big money. If you're a woman, it takes big ovaries to make big money. And so I recommend that you view it accordingly and educate yourself accordingly, because you might just miss the greatest opportunity that has ever been passed your way simply because you didn't spend the time to educate yourself on this great, great transformative revolution that is the cryptocurrency evolution on planet Earth for money. All right, guys, that's all I got to say. Thank you very much and have a great day. Think big.